Welcome to another episode of the LeverageStrong Show. I'm Chris Orsini, and today I have Matt Erdmann, the Regional Operating Principal for the New England region and owner of REProphet. How you doing today, Matt?
I am outstanding, sir. How are you?
Good. So tell me a bit about yourself. We were talking a little bit beforehand. You've held a lot of roles in the company.
I have, yeah. So I got into real estate, if I remember correctly, 2005. It was either end of
Okay.
2004 or 2005 as an agent.
Right
Um,
before it got bad.
right before it got bad, yeah. Which is a true, kind of it was a really good time to get in. I
Mm-hmm.
actually caught the very tail end of the boom. And I often
Ah,
tell the story. I got into the business, and essentially back then you would list a house, spend a handful of days negotiating multiple offers, get your seller more than they even expected. They'd tell their friends, rinse and repeat. And I probably
yep.
spent the first 6 months like, wow, I am really good at this. And then the market turned, and I was
Yep.
like, oh, that actually had nothing to do with me.
Yeah.
But it was really a gift because I didn't have a lot of time to get spoiled. So
Yeah.
it could turn very quickly, and I started in an area where I didn't know anybody. I genuinely knew about 11 people because I had
Oh,
moved
wow.
there. I had moved there, deployed with the military, came back, and I just didn't know anybody in the area.
Yeah.
So it really was a gift, though, because I had to learn how to do that dirty word, which is prospect.
Yeah.
But since then, I was an agent. Went from an agent to being a team leader, went from a team leader to being an OP. I was a MAPS coach for a period of time. And then currently operating principal of my own market center, operating principal of the New England region, and also did a lot of real estate investing in the space in between. And as you mentioned, in that same time frame where I bought the market center and became the OP, I also tripped, fell, and created a software company called REProphet.
Okay, so real quick, you mentioned something, and I just want to dive into this just for a minute. But you said you got into real estate with 11 people in your contacts, essentially, or in your area. Now,
Mm-hmm.
I live in South Florida, very transient area, and we get a lot of people who move here from, New York, whatever, all your states, right?
Yeah,
Where
yeah, yeah.
places where it's cold and snows,
Mm-hmm.
and people apparently don't like that for long periods of time. So they move down here, and then I hear, hey, what do I do? I don't know anyone here.
Mm-hmm.
So what was, I know you said prospecting, but like what was the activity that you did that you found success in?
Yeah, so the things that I focused on were at the time it was for sale by owners,
Mm-hmm.
expireds, and business to business. Those were the three
Mm,
primary things. So I looked up, and back then there were more for sale by owners on the market than we currently see today.
yeah.
But they were out there.
Yeah.
And the approach I took is I went straight to the house. So I would go on Sundays rather than doing open houses. I would go door to door to every open house within a giant radius, pop in, say hello, introduce myself. And it eventually turned into a strategy that as I got busier, I really couldn't manage being going door to door in that manner.
Mm,
Um, and I had more inventory and actually had figured out how to do an open house in a manner in which it was actually productive, had more listings to keep open, all those things. And then what it turned into is I would call them on Sundays and I would introduce myself and say, this is who I am. One of the services that I provide to my buyer clients is I always keep an off market inventory list of
mm.
homes that are for sale but are not in MLS. When's a good time that I could pop by, take a look at your home? And then when I went there, I would take a tour of the home. I would ask them for permission to post it on my site as a non MLS property with a disclosure that my broker gave me at the time to make it legal. They would send me all their information. And then when I left, I would say, would it be okay if I check in with you every week or so just to make sure you haven't sold the property or changed the price so that I can keep everything up to date? They always said yes. That gave me the opportunity to then keep circling back with
Mm.
them, and eventually I would list them. So there was
Awesome.
that. Expireds, I made those calls every day. And business to business for me was one of my favorite things because I would always focus on who are the people that I can add value to their business, who in turn could provide me multiple referrals throughout the year. And those were the
Yep.
three primary things I focused on.
That's awesome. And then when you ask for permission to call them every week, you then actually called them every week, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's an important part of the
Yeah.
process.
Yep. Cool. So, all right. So let's get into REProphet. And before we get into that real quick, I want to shout out Brooke Silva, who connected us. She's your regional tech trainer. And she's a rock star up there.
Absolute rock star. Yeah,
Yep.
she's amazing.
So she introduced me to REProphet. I took a look at it and I was like, all right, get me in touch with Matt right now, because this is really cool. And I haven't heard enough about it. So tell me what it is, how it works, what made you want to build it.
Yeah. So I think that's the place to start.
Okay.
What made us want to build it? So the thing I learned very quickly when I first got into real estate, I did start with a different company. And that particular company had all the top producers in the area. I shouldn't say all, but they had quite a few. Those people that are iconic. I would see their signs all over town. They had billboards all over town. And, those were the people I aspired to be, at least from the outside looking in. So as I started to get to know them, what I found out was a lot of them had financial problems. And these are mega, mega, mega producers, right? And very green and naive. I literally could not understand how that was possible, right? The scoreboard's public. I know how many homes you sold. I can do math. And I'm like, wow, this is like, how is that even possible? Fast forward, as I became a team leader, my door became the door that people knocked on to talk about what was happening behind the curtain. Right. And very quickly through my years as an agent and then my time in leadership, what I realized is it is the majority, not the minority, who have financial challenges in our industry. And the level to which they produce has nothing to do with it. The biggest producers, mid-level producers, however you want to describe, production's irrelevant as to whether or not they are financially sound. And I believe part of the challenge in that is two things. One, there has always been a massive gap in our industry when it comes to tools and training around running your business like a business, right? We're very production focused. We're very customer service focused. And those are two really important aspects of the business. Yet at the end of the day, a business has to be profitable, period, end of story, right? No matter how many high-minded ideas you have about why you do what you do, I want to contribute to my community, this, that, those are all valid. Yet without profit, your business is going to cease to exist. And so is any value that it delivers to the world. So I think there's a massive gap around training and education there. So that's number one. And number two, without that training and education, without simple tools, people tend to think I can just earn my way out of it, right? So they're making $50,000 gross, but they're actually losing money. And in their mind, they think, well, if I get to X number of sales, that'll be $100,000 and then I'll make money. No, you won't. If you're losing money at 50,000, you will lose more money at 100. You will lose more money at 200 until you fix the problem. You will just grow a bigger problem. And I believe that comes with training and simple tools that allow people to focus on production and profitability.
Absolutely. I think and what you're describing is not unique to your area. I see it here all the time. It's a national challenge. And you hit the nail on the head too. I think it's similar to team leaders here, you can recruit your way out of any problem. It's kind of the same as I'm just going to continue doing the thing that's getting me spinning the hamster wheel, and I'm just going to spin a bigger hamster wheel.
And that's really what led to us building the product. So as a team leader, that really became my shtick, is teaching about personal financial management, business financial management, sort of the foundational things. And, I had mentioned that I did a lot of investing. So when I first took over the market center, at the same time, I started a flip company. And in 5 years, we bought, rehabbed, and resold about 80 properties.
Nice.
So as I was doing that, my leadership team came to me and said, hey, the agents are really interested in what it is you're doing, like how you're buying all these houses, rehabbing all these houses. Like, could we do a class? So I said, sure. Put it on the training calendar, call it Agent Wealth Building, and I'll come and I'll teach. So I think the first time we did it, we had 70 some odd people who showed up.
Wow.
And I started the class the way I would start any class. I said, okay, you guys are all super busy. There's a million things you could have chosen to do with your day-to-day, yet you are here. So you guys tell me, what are you hoping to take out of the day-to-day? And we made the list, and it was all the things you would think if you showed up to that class, like how do you find the properties? How do you finance them? How do you manage contractors? What numbers do you buy them at? Yada, 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 yada. So we made that big list. And then I said, okay, I'm going to give you the good news and the bad news. The good news is I can teach you all of these things, and I'm not going to teach you any of them today. What I'm going to teach you is the fundamental, foundational things that you need to have in place in your life in order to earn the right to have these sexy conversations. And the good news is then I'm going to teach the class where we talk about all these things, and you guys will be the only ones allowed to come. Fair enough? And we did that. I've traveled quite a bit since then, market center to market center, teaching that all of that content. Now, when I go to another market center, I would teach that content all in one day. I would start with the foundation stuff and carry it all the way through to what I always call the sexy stuff, buying rentals, and flipping and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And inevitably, when I do that, I have people who come up to me and say, I came for this, but what I really needed to hear and what I got the most value out of was this.
Yeah, makes sense.
So as I was doing that, I would always try to teach tactic tool, tactic tool, tactic tool. And the one area where I had a challenge was around profit and loss. There wasn't really a simple tool, right? I could say, go to QuickBooks. QuickBooks is just complicated enough that the vast majority of our audience is not going to do it. Go here, there's a spreadsheet. Let's be really honest. Self, probably you and everybody else who's in this industry, 0.001% are actually going to plug every dollar they spend and make into an Excel spreadsheet. It's not real.
And build the formulas and
Exactly. So what ended up happening is myself and my top agent, we were at actually an ALC clinic. And I know I'm taking time, and I hope, I really feel like the story behind this is important.
No, it's definitely valuable.
So we were at an ALC clinic. So we've got, several hundred of some of the top agents in the region. And in a moment of vulnerability, my top agent shared a period of his life that he went through where he was the number one producer, collecting all the awards, doing all those things, and he was broke.
Wow.
The reason he was willing to share that story is because he had unwound the rat's nest, right? It was history. And now he's willing to share it because he's out of it.
Yeah.
To his surprise, not mine, when he did that, it was like dominoes. And I don't mean at the table, through the room.
Wow.
People started sharing their stories of either the pain that they're in today financially or the pain they were in at some point in their life. There were tears, the whole nine.
Yeah.
And he leaned over to me and he said, hey, I know this is your hot button. Like, you and I should lock ourselves in a boardroom and figure out what can we do that we haven't already done that can move this problem in a positive direction. So we did. We locked ourselves in a room and we made all the lists. We've done this. We've done this. Why does the challenge? What are the challenges? What sticks? What doesn't? And finally, one of us said, well, maybe we're looking at this the wrong way. We've been coming at this trying to change human behavior, which is one of the hardest things you could ever try to tackle.
Yeah.
And we're trying to get salespeople to act like accountants. Right? That's a heavy lift.
Yeah, it is.
What if we just gave them what they need to run their business like a business without spending a ton of money or a ton of time? How would we do that? And one of us said, well, you could probably automate it with software. And I kid you not, this is how it went down. He looked at me and said, do you know anything about software? I said, no. How about you? No. He goes, where would we even start? I said, well, where everything starts. Let's Google it.
Yeah.
We literally Googled, how do you build software? Fast forward 9 months, we had a prototype built and we were beta testing it.
Wow.
So what we built, as you mentioned, is called REProphet. And basically what it is a very simple automated system that connects through a safe API to the bank accounts and credit cards that you use to run your business. It pulls all your transactions in and automatically categorizes them into a millionaire real estate agent chart of accounts.
Oh, love it.
In 2 clicks, you just select your level of production, and based on the millionaire real estate agent budget models, it creates a custom budget for you based on that production.
Wow.
It gives you a P&L that shows you what you are doing next to what you should be doing in order to maximize profitability, right? My belief is to run a business at a really high level from a financial standpoint, you need to know what you are doing compared to what you should be doing. And then it's just a matter of working to close those gaps and getting those two to meet. That P&L red light, green lights. So anywhere where you're off on a metric, it will go red to draw your attention to this is an area where I may need to dial in and see where I need to tighten it up. The other thing we wanted was to make sure that it wasn't about filing taxes. That is a necessary evil. And that is the
Yeah.
unfortunate thing. Most people in our industry don't understand that having an effective P&L makes you more money. What they think is the outcome is the outcome. Whether I have it on paper or not, it's not going to change. I know I need it at the end of the year to file taxes. That is a complete misnomer. It's not accurate. It's not true. When you have a fully functional P&L and you know how to read it, you will make more money. That's all there is to it. So we wanted it to also be a tool for them to run their business throughout the year, their financial dashboard. So we track things that other companies don't track, like cost of sale. If you ask an accountant will tell you, don't worry about cost of sale. You never touch the money. The IRS doesn't care. It's irrelevant. True from an IRS standpoint, but the minute you start to bring salespeople into your world, cost of sale becomes a very important metric for your business, right? That is one of the areas that sometimes an agent builds a beast of a business and they look up and go, I don't understand how I'm not making any money.
Yeah.
A lot of times cost of sale is the culprit. They've allowed that metric to get out of whack. Right. So it tracks the cost of sale. My favorite part of the platform is it tracks ROI, return on investment for all marketing and lead gen. So for every dollar you spend, they should be making you money. You can click on a report, pick any time frame you want to look at, and it'll show you over that time frame. You have spent this much, you have made this much, this is your ROI.
Wow.
So the power of that is that allows you finally, with barely any effort whatsoever, to click a button and see what's working, what's not, know what to cut, what to keep, and where to double down to generate more leads, which becomes more clients, which becomes more transactions, which becomes more profit. So those are kind of the high level. We have a mobile app that goes with it. Everything you can do web-based, you can do mobile. There's a mileage tracker in there that'll sync to a mileage report in the system.
Oh,
so
wow.
every year you can just send that and your P&L off to the accountant and go back to selling real estate. So at a really high level, that's what it is. We also have what we call Profit Assist. So Profit Assist, we learned early. It doesn't matter if it takes 5 minutes a week. There are many of us who just aren't going to do it, no matter what. We're just not. We're going to forget. We're going to procrastinate. And we're going to look up, 12 months later and be in the same boat we were in last year via tax time.
Yeah.
And by the way, a nugget that I did forget to mention, it also tracks your estimated tax liability based on your profit.
Oh, wow.
So at any point in time, you can look and see exactly what you owe in taxes and be able to answer the question, do I actually have that money to pay the taxes? It also tracks owner draw. So any money you take out of the business for personal use. So all those metrics to really identify whether your business is healthy and you're in a place where you're going to be able to pay your taxes at the end of the year, all those metrics are right in front of you throughout the year.
Yeah.
So the Profit Assist piece, we realized early on, no matter how simple it is, no matter how little time it takes, there are some individuals who just never do it. So we created Profit Assist. Profit Assist takes that platform and we pair you with an actual profit assistant, a human being who goes in and does the minimal manual work that has to be done to keep the system fully up to date and to maximize all the pieces of it. You have a call with them, a 15-minute call every 2 weeks. You answer any questions they need to keep it up to date, run through numbers, gives you that accountability that you're checking in on your finances at least bi-weekly, and they're doing the work for you.
That's brilliant. So how much, after you've downloaded it, connected it to your bank accounts, does it do multiple bank accounts?
It does. You can connect as many accounts, credit cards. And another really important thing there, it is unfortunate, yet the vast majority of our audience, being realtors, they are co-mingling their accounts, meaning they're paying their personal expenses and their business expenses out of the same account. Yeah. We knew when we built it, if we don't set it up such that it can work with that and pull out all of those personal expenses so that they have clean business expenses and income, then it wasn't going to work for a huge chunk of the audience. So we've actually designed it such that if you're operating the way you should be, which is separate business and personal accounts, it's obviously going to work. Yeah. If you are co-mingling, it is set up such that it pulls those personal expenses out, you'll be able to see them and track them, but it pulls those numbers out of your business P&L.
Oh, that's perfect. Yeah, and I asked for like the multiple bank accounts because I'm a big advocate for the profit first model.
Yep.
So if you are using different banks to transfer money between, yeah, that's awesome. So you download the app or you sign up online, you connect it to your accounts. What amount of work should you be doing on a regular basis within the app?
So the typical agent, it obviously depends on their level of production, but a typical agent is going to spend anywhere from 5 to 15 minutes in the account per week, maximum. What we try to coach people to is we call it a financial Friday because it just sounds good.
Yeah.
But we encourage everybody to put 15 minutes in their calendar every Friday before their day gets going. So you're up in the morning, you're having your coffee, open up the platform. Everything is Fisher Price, simple, point and click. Here's the 5 things to do while you're in the account. Then pop over to your P&L, take a look, close it, go on about your day. If you do that, it's going to be 5 to 15 minutes, depending on the amount of volume that you're doing a week. And you're going to have a fully functioning P&L with all of that data that we already talked about. So it's not a lot of time at all. What we found is because we built it strictly for real estate, a lot of the expenses, we know what they are, and we were able to hard code them so that when they come in, the system knows what it is and it just puts it where it belongs.
Yeah.
For all those transactions that are unique, when you categorize it, if it's a repeat transaction, there's a apply all button. And what that does is I book it once to where it goes, and the next time it comes in, it knows and it puts it there.
It's going to recognize it.
So we found within usually 45 to 60 days, the system is going to be about 80 to 85% automated.
Wow.
And you've got about 15 to 20% of the work that you're going to have to do manually. Believe it or not, we have people who don't have Profit Assist who will have an account, connect it, ignore it. And by the way, I am not condoning this. They will ignore it.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden they'll panic come tax time. And we have, and again, this is not the model.
Yeah.
We have been able to square away a year's worth of data for people literally in a week and provide them with a P&L.
Wow.
And I only say that, I'm going to keep stressing that is not the model. I only say that to say the system is that simple that once the transactions are in there and you're using it correctly, the amount of time it takes is incredibly small.
Yeah, I'm thinking, 5 to 15 minutes a week. That's to ensure that I have a profitable business. That's literally nothing. Like in the grand scheme of things. Like how much time prior to this would you spend on a regular basis doing a P&L?
So I will tell you, when I first got in the business, my version of a P&L, and I learned I was pretty sophisticated in the grand scheme of things. I had a drawer full of envelopes. That was my chart of accounts.
Okay.
Each envelope had a name on it.
Yeah. Like
marketing or this or that. And once a month, I would put all my receipts in there. And I literally would write, like, as I put them in, I would total them up, subtotal. Next time I'd add them up again. So in my drawer, I had all my envelopes labeled by their category, which would be my chart of accounts.
Yeah.
And then every time I put receipts in, I totaled them up and added it to the last total. So I had an envelope that I could pick up that was full of receipts that said you've spent $8,000 on marketing.
Yeah.
So that's where I started. And then I paid a CPA, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of dollars, right? Like right now I own multiple businesses. Every single Friday, everyone who works for me knows we have to get Matt a profit and loss statement by end of business Thursday, because in every single business, every Friday, I look at every single P&L. And everybody who works for me knows it needs to be in my inbox on Thursdays. So now I pay people to do it, but I pay them a lot of money to do it, right? Like I just ran into a guy who's an REProphet user. He's doing $60 million a year. And I was like, hey, like, how is it still working for you? And he's like, yeah, it's everything that I need. Super simple. We spend almost zero time on it. So there is a level when your business might get so complicated, you have to go to that higher level CPA, those kinds of things. but you can go really, really far on this simple platform without spending anywhere near that amount of time.
Yeah.
Again, so now go back to your question, how much time do I spend? I spend all my time reviewing the P&L, not doing the P&L, which is kind of what this allows you to do without hiring somebody. Now go ask the people who do my P&Ls how long they spend, and it's a lot of time.
Yeah. So it's more insight than it is hindsight.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And the thing that is cool too, like for people who know me well, a lot of them will say like, I'm a numbers geek, I'm a spreadsheet guy. None of that is natural. None of it. That is 100% learned behavior. There was a point in time through coaching and other things that I realized when you understand the numbers of your business, like it starts with having a P&L, and then it's understanding your P&L. And once you understand your P&L, you can actually write the P&L. Like it's not about reading it anymore. You understand the metrics to the degree that you can say, this is the outcome I want. And you work backwards that this is what these metrics need to be in order for me to have the outcome I want. And you understand it all enough, which isn't complicated. It's really just getting comfortable with it. And you can get to the point where you're not reading it anymore. Like you know what the P&L is going to say because you're driving it. But you got to start by having it.
Yeah.
Then move towards understanding it. And then once you understand it, you can write it.
That's fantastic. So are there any features in the app that you wish more people would use?
100%. And it would be the ROI data.
Okay.
Yeah. The ROI data, that is a piece that is manual. It has to be. Because what happens is when income comes in, one of the pieces of data that you can attach to that income as it comes into the system is source. And source is where did the lead come from that generated the income? As long as you put that in, and again, it's Fisher Price. You just click drop down menu, select. We've got it populated with all the ones we know. If it's a unique one, you just click add, type it in, save it. Now you have your own. But it is literally click, select, save. If you do that, as far as what's going to make you money, that data will make you more money than you could ever spend on REProphet in your lifetime. And it can do it in a year, right? Like when we were first beta testing this, I used to work directly with the folks who were in the system beta testing it with us. So we would go into that data and we would see investments that they're making that should be generating them income. And you'd be able to say, okay, well, you've got this $500 investment in online lead gen that you're getting a 48% return on. You have this one that you're getting a 2,800% return on. What do you think we should do?
Yeah.
I should probably move that 48% to the 2,800. There you go. Right. And now you just switch that investment over to where you're getting the better return. It is an easy business decision to make that is going to make you a lot of money as long as you have the data. The hard part is in the past, it's been very difficult to have that data. How do I track it? What system do I set up? Now it's super simple. As long as you take the time to click that button, source the income, it's going to take care of itself.
Yeah. That's
and
awesome.
That can make you a lot of money.
It can. And that's one of the things I really enjoy teaching is like whenever I teach internet lead generation, I preface with the ROI formula and understanding what that is, because I've seen agents just throw tons and tons of money at ads and then they see a 1-to-1 return, but there's probably a 3-month gap between that at least. And so they can't tangibly feel it. And then a year later, they realize I didn't make any money because I dumped all that money back into poor marketing decisions or too many marketing decisions and not narrowing in on the ones that are most profitable. So I love that.
Agreed. And typically, if you ask an agent, hey, how is that going for you? Whatever that investment is. And you'll get some kind of an answer like, it's going pretty good. Awesome. What's your ROI on it? Well, I'm getting leads. Okay, great. What's your ROI on it? Well, as long as I close one a month, it's good. And the leads are coming in. Great. What's your ROI on it? Right. Like, 'cause I think the two biggest mistakes we make around those expenses, those lead generation investments is one, what you said, we're not tracking it. So we're throwing good money after bad, or B, we didn't give a thing a chance to work. So when you make a decision to invest in a thing that should generate more income, number one, you need to know the runway. What is a reasonable time frame in which I can expect a reasonable return on this? And if you're not willing to invest for that period of time, just don't make the investment, period. Otherwise, you're throwing the money in and you're pulling the cord before you have a chance for the investment to work. Or B, they just keep throwing it at it and they're not getting a result. And because they're not paying attention, or because they're getting leads, but they're not paying attention on whether they're closing, they're wasting money that could be invested somewhere else.
Yep.
Right.
Exactly.
And when you think about how big our commissions can be, it's obviously different market to market. You know, the difference between putting money into something that is getting a 50% return and a 2,800% return is massive. I mean, you're talking about tens and tens, in some markets, $100,000 difference in just spending the same amount of money, but spending it right. So that is by far, I think it's the most powerful piece. And it is a piece that sometimes gets underutilized in the system.
Yep. Awesome. Well, Matt, I've kept you a little past our time. So if people want to know more about this product and sign up, or, see pricing or whatever, where can they find it?
Yeah. So I'll give you two things. Well, I'll give you three. One, go to REProphet.com, and that is spelled REProphet. So REProphet.com. You can email me. It's just matt.e@REProphet.com. And you can call me if you have questions. My direct cell phone number is 413-478-3887. If this is a product you want to look at, we will actually do a live onboarding for you. So we will schedule a call like this where we will get on with you. We'll help you connect your accounts. We'll walk you through, give you a tutorial. If you choose to do the Profit Assist piece, that individual who does that onboarding with you will stay with you from that point forward. If you choose to do it on your own after that, then we'll get you set up, teach you what you need to know. You're off and running on your own, and we're still available if you need help along the way. So you can call me. You can email me, and you can go straight to REProphet.com.
Awesome. Well, Matt, you are the first person to drop your number in on this show. So
it is a flaw of mine. I make myself very accessible.
So, Matt, it's been great having you. I really appreciate your time with us, and can't wait to dig a little deeper on this app.
Awesome. I appreciate you, sir. You're doing good things.